basically, they say they usually call it 6 degrees of freedom, 6 degrees of 6 kinds of movement in the spine. So I thought we'd just start in a cat-cow to kind of loosen up a little bit. And this tabletop position, we won't hold these. We're just going to use our little cat-cow motions to get a little bit of blood and energy flowing. And it's very easy to work 2 of the movements of the spine. The back bend is what we call this cat. So when we inhale, we press our tailbone up, we let our chest open and our head look up, we're getting a nice back bend. And when we press and round the spine, we get what's essentially a forward bend of the back. So that's why this simple movement is so healthy for the spine. Nice back bend, nice forward bend. That vertical movement in the spine, just get it going. If we could do this every hour, our back would be a lot healthier. And then come to neutral, just to feel the lateral movement of the spine, which is also a twist. So if you look around the right shoulder and look at the tail, this little tail wag, and then over the left shoulder, the little tail wag. You're getting to move the spine in a lateral plane. Also, because the weight is not symmetrical, you're twisting and opening the side body. So just these few simple movements, we've asked the spine to go in all its directions. And then just because we're here, we'll do what Tanya is doing to warm up, who has to sit at a desk all day. Just take your arms forward, let the buttocks come back towards the heels, and just let the spine get long and extended. Also opening the shoulders. This is a little puppy shape. Just go down however far feels good for your spine. And then go ahead and release the pose. That's helped us feel those movements. Although I like to add a true side bend. If I'm thinking about working all the degrees of freedom. So if you just come to a simple seated position, again, we won't hold these, we just want to feel the degree to which the spine will let us go into that C shape. I put my arm over my head because it helps stretch these side ribs, and I like the activation of the shoulder. But really, if your back's not quite ready for really deep side bend, just lean to one side, kind of press that other knee. You'll feel stuff opening, stuff that's been kind of stagnant will begin to feel alive. And then just switch sides and bend to the other side. And then come back to a neutral spine. Do whatever feels good. Just here's another movement that isn't like a real normal movement. If you kind of press the back round and then open it, and you make these little circles with the chest, that's also getting some areas that don't normally get activated. And pretty much all the movements we just did can be modified to do in a chair. So if you are forced to have a lot of your daily life in a chair, you can switch sides. And just feel how that spine enjoys movement. So it seems kind of counterintuitive in yin that we hold poses for a long time, but that's because the way we develop tension in the spine by holding it in one position and not moving it, it takes time to release that muscle and deep tissue. So we're going to start with a held posture, but something fairly easy and restful called, this is our butterfly. And it's kind of your choice. Butterfly, the heels can be very close into the groin if it feels really good to open that groin area. But because we're focused on the spine, I'm going to recommend most of us keep our legs sort of out a bit. That way, when we forward bend, there's not probably less in the groin, less in the hip, and we can just let gravity open up those spaces between those spinal vertebrae. We're going to hold this for 3 minutes. So you all know the rules. If you get a little bit, your body gets a little bit tired of holding the particular shape, doesn't take much to modify that shape and ease up. But where you should be feeling it is in the spine. Kind of like you can imagine greater space between each of those vertebrae as you're just letting the back ease down. We'll go all the way to the cervical spine if it's comfortable for your head to let go. Some of you may wish to support your head. It's just a little too much on the back of your neck, but see what works for you. This butterfly. So we like to remind ourselves in these still postures that it's a time to just tune in to the breath. Let the thinking mind kind of get quiet and in the background. Like any yoga, if we're trying to be present with the sensation of the bodies, and the focus on the breath, we're doing additional goodness for ourselves and just letting go, letting the effort of thinking, planning, solving go. At the same time, we're letting our muscles and our tissue and our joints benefit from the shapes. Now, if you do feel this strongly in your hips, or even the side of your leg, I always feel everything very strongly in the side of my leg. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't let the focus go from letting that back release. Sometimes a nice deep inhale with even more space in the spine. As the lungs press, get bigger. Take about 3 or 4 nice, deep, calming breaths. Before we begin to release the pose. And to get full benefit, you all know this already, we just want to come out really slowly. Rather than engaging the back muscles and sitting like with a straight spine, just use the hands to help lift the spine, let it kind of roll up very gently. And then just to release the hip and the groin, bring the legs together, let them come out straight. Nothing strong, we're just gonna shake them, bring some energy back into those legs. And my favorite counter pose to that strong forward bend is just to lean back. Just to lean back on the hands and press the hands and lift the chest. So you'll feel how this is a nice simple back bend to counter pose that forward bend. But mainly do whatever feels good. And then we're gonna come to some more spine work, but we'll use this kind of dragonfly shape. If you're very open and you do this kind of pose a lot, let me switch my zoom so you can see my legs in case that didn't make sense. You can do this whole series with the legs open like this in a V. I'm going to recommend for most of us to bring one leg in. So if you bring your right leg in, for example, we're going to, because we want this to be less about the groin, the hamstrings, the hips, and more about the spine. This gives a little bit more stability. And also because we're working asymmetrically, it works the back part of the spine a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is just side bend over that straight leg. Now, if you're used to doing this and it feels good, if we bring our arm over the head and kind of reach sideways, it's a very strong side bend twist. But you don't have to do this. Your back might not be ready for it, your shoulder might not be ready. Really, the arms are incidental. You can let the arm be soft in front or even on your hip, or some people will like to put their hand kind of behind their head to play around and find a little side bend that works for your body. And of course, it's nice if we're getting a little bit of hamstring stretch, but we're mainly thinking here, the ribs and those back muscles along the side, they're called the quadratus lumborum. Just breathe those open as much as you can. You can change the arm position midway or try a couple different ones. Breathing into those side ribs and those low back muscles on the side. Usually we can't hold this like 3 or 4 minutes. It's a fairly strong stretch. So what we want to do is we're going to end up turning the torso so that it's over that straight leg. The sternum is over that straight leg, and you'll notice that there's a little twist involved in making that happen. So see if you can get that orientation of the chest over the leg, and again, you're just using the hands to help support a forward bend over that leg with the emphasis on the spine. So opening the spine, not getting long and stretched in the hamstring, but more of this shape, opening, releasing, stimulating the spine, and the muscles along the spine. And this we will hold for 1.5 minutes. It's really nice when you find that perfect place where you're almost not exerting any effort. You just feel the release, the release, the release. But small changes in degree of twist, or how far over that leg you are, will change where you feel it in the spine. So don't be afraid to explore what seems to be the point that your body needs, that opening, that stretch. And then just be really happy that you found that place. Be happy that you're here, rather than striving to make it a lot deeper or anything. Just enjoy. And then use your hands to release the pose. Breaths. I usually take 3-4 breaths to actually lift and release the pose. There's absolutely no hurry. It's better to go in super slow motion after a deep stretch. And we'll do that same thing on the other side. So take your time, loving your knee, whatever got a little bit of compression in that shape. Find the other leg long. And then start with that side bend. One way to do that is to think of the shoulder kind of coming towards the knee. The hand will be kind of inside the leg. It encourages to open the chest and really maximize the stretch along the side body. But yours might look different than that. Yours might not be as open. As long as you're feeling it in the side rib, find the arm, a degree of twist that seems to give you the best side stretch for a few breaths. I'm sort of counting to a nice slow 8. And then gradually turn your torso, let your chest, your rib cage try to be somewhat over that leg. Now it's more of an asymmetrical forward bend. I'm just letting my spine sink over that leg. We'll hold. So don't think about it too much, more like just feel. Make any of those minor adjustments that moves it into your area. Nobody can really tell you what the perfect shape is for your body. It has to be discovered. Got about 10 more seconds, so take your breaths and kind of think about the nicest, gentlest way to come out of the pose. Letting your hands help you come up. We're actually gonna come out of the pose by just lying on our back for a minute. Partly to let the back neutralize, but partly just to try to feel what that kind of deep stretch has done. So just come to your back. I often start with my knees bent so that my back is more able to release on the floor. Your back may be just fine going to straight leg, a little mini shavasana. Just breathe and feel for a few breaths. It's sort of a subtle point, but some people, when they feel a lot of sensation on what's called the rebound of these poses, it actually can almost be a little scary. Like your back does not feel like your back. It's been strongly stimulated. And part of what we do, what I think yin helps us do, is just learn to be comfortable with those odd sensations. You don't have to get rid of them, we can just notice them. And let our mind just kind of trust that all is fine, all is okay. Couple more breaths. Hopefully you're in a position you can see me. Some of you know this pose. You might not need to change anything. It's called cat pulling its tail, which is a twisted kind of back bend that we do from this reclined position. And there's lots of ways to get into it, but what I'm going to suggest is that you let one leg go long. I'm letting my left leg get long and my right knee just go to the opposite side. So it's going to the left side, just like we do in a reclined twist. Except we're going to start kind of in this funny, I'm just at the beach doing nothing, kind of up on my hand. You see me? Because this pose is actually about the bottom leg. What we want it to do is bend and let the foot come up towards the buttocks. So this is the cat tail part. I hope everybody can see me. And you can grab your foot. Sometimes a belt helps, but that's what we want. We want the lever for this pose to be the hand and the foot, forcing this nice spiral twist to the back. There's lots of versions. This top leg can do whatever it wants to kind of help stabilize. Some people really like to have it kind of stretched long as an anchor. And you can see that you can also roll both shoulders down so that you're in a full reclined twist. But it's that bottom leg and hand pulling tail that it gets the shape of the twist we want. I'm trying to see if everybody found a good shape. We're gonna very nice asymmetrical twist for the spine. If you can't reach your foot comfortably, just bending that leg, that bottom leg, and kind of reaching it up, you'll feel how the back has to arch. Nice. So our goal is always to come to a shape where the muscle work, which in this case is the hand and the foot, kind of holding on to each other, is just support for the target area, which is our back, our spine. We're in this about 1.5 minutes. I'd like to give you another 1.5 minutes, so assess whether you've found the right degree of twist. You want to change your legs. If you bring your heel a little bit closer to your buttocks, often that stimulates the quadricep. So that might feel good. Otherwise, if your back is in a nice contour of twist, you probably got the perfect pose for this. Okay, that's a nice 3.5 minute hold. Come out of it just kind of in reverse. Just let go of the foot. Let the back kind of ease its way flat on the floor. You take a breath there. We're going to repeat that on the other side. So oftentimes I don't suggest a counter stretch, because in this asymmetry of the pose, you will get a counter pose on the other side. So just whichever leg, straighten it out, the opposite leg, let your hip come over, there you go. Make sure it's the other side, Lexi, there you go. There you go. Knee to floor, you can come up on your hand, or if you're nice and open, you can stay reclined, there you go. And try to find that position of how close the foot is to the buttocks, or sort of pulling away. I actually like the feeling of the foot pulling against the hand, and feel it come up all the way from the tailbone, low back, mid back, and opening the chest. And it's not aggressive, it's just that the hold of the hand on the foot creates the twist. that top leg can kind of walk forward a little bit for some of you if you want to feel it a little bit in that top hip, or just stay exactly where you are. But there is a version of this pose where you actually straighten out that top leg and hold it with your other hand, so you're in this little full bound pretzel thing. But we want to focus on the back, so those are just flourishes once. Yeah, that's good timing, exactly. We've got about another minute. Just want to relax and deepen into it any way that feels good. Got about another 15 seconds, so deepen or move enough to just re-energize those nice little stress points. And then think about how you want to get out of it as gently as possible. Just re-neutralizing the spine, letting that knee float up. And feel the back on the floor for a minute. Feel that sense of vulnerability that you just created in the back. And try to be okay with it. Don't wish it away. Just acknowledge it as a therapeutic effort. So when you're ready, we're going to actually come onto our belly for our Sphinx Seal series, which is another back bend, obviously, but this time symmetrical. So it will feel quite different. So just find your way to the belly. Our arms are our little anchors here to rest the back in a nice curve. Just getting the spine long and energized all along those vertebrae. You choose the degree of effort, a little bit of pressure into the forearms. The elbows kind of coming back towards the waist. We usually feel like you're getting a little bit more compression in the spine. Or you can kind of release that effort and just hang there and let it be a soft, hanging back bend. Or something in between. But here the spine is very symmetrical. The pressures on the spine should be very, very similar between the right and the left side. No twisting. And if you haven't already, just take a couple of breaths to maybe get 1/4 inch longer and then release the pose. We're just gonna come into our little belly down rest, pillow hands on our neck, turn to one side for a few breaths. And when you're ready, we'll do our second back bend in this series, which we call seal. Just means we try to get up a little higher. Usually our arms are trying to be straight, even if they have to be kind of forward. And this tends to move the compression to the low back. So you're being careful, you don't want any pain back there, but the idea of this pose is that compression is actually healthy for the back. As long as there's no pain, you're going to just let it hang there and breathe. Keeping all those discs of the spine mobile and the cushions between the spines stimulated. And the legs can kind of do whatever they like to do. They don't need to do anything. They're just sort of back there holding the back, the bottom part of the back for you. They're just relaxed. Some people like them kind of wide. Some people are used to doing it quite straight. I like to do whatever helps me relax the legs the most. So I tend to put mine out a little bit and let the heels drop to whichever side is comfortable for your hips. Not trying to hold the legs any which way. Just a couple more breaths. Begin to release the pose. And flat on the belly. And giving your neck that stretch on the opposite cheek to pillow hands. And then I'd like us to just come up and make our way to a child pose. It's just the nicest way to counter those back bends. It's just to let the back rest on the thighs and reopen and release. And we'll hold this for a bit. Sometimes we use it as a quick counter pose, but let's hold this for about a minute, giving our back plenty of time to neutralize. Nothing wrong with a little bit of movement in the hip if that helps bring some release back there. You can just enjoy the stillness. And take a couple breaths to just help yourself sit up out of that. And we'll actually make our way to a staff pose. In Indian, we call this caterpillar. It's just sitting on our sits bones with our legs both out in front. And I just wanted to play a little bit with the yin yang energies that we can get in a pose like this. And a little bit of muscle work can actually help both strengthen and counter some of those deep bends. So come into like a yang version where we try to let the back be really straight. You can use your hands on the side to kind of help support the back. At least for me, a nice straight spine is actually almost like a small little bit of a back bend, just because we're normally not completely straight, not completely open. So just see how straight you can get your spine, even if you have to bend your legs a little bit, bend your knees. Just get really, really straight, nice yang. Engaging the muscles in the back. And then raise the hands up. That forces us to use the back muscles. See if you can keep the spine straight. And then see how far forward you can come in the staff with a straight spine. So it takes muscle. All the muscles in the legs are engaged. All the muscles in the back are engaged. And we won't hold this. Just using it to sort of feed in to counterpose those bends. And then we're going to relax it into a yin version. Now, release the muscles in the legs, release the muscles in the back, and those same kind of principles. It might help your legs release to actually widen them a little bit. This is a forward bend. The back's going to be round, and the hands are just looking for a way to support that forward bend. We want to get to a place where gravity is just helping us ease forward into the pose. Little bit of strength in the arms to help us stay there, but mostly we're letting muscle go. This stretch is the whole back body, all the way from the feet, the calves, the hamstrings, but most especially for tonight's work, it's all along the back, all the way from the tailbone, low back, mid back, upper back. And if you let the head release, all the way to the cervical spine. In Hatha Yoga, this is called Paschimottanasana, and it literally means full back body stretch. Very nice, everyone. Now, of course, everyone knows you can come out when you need to. I'm going to say hold it about 4 or 5 more nice deep breaths. If that works. And we're just going to head all the way to our backs when you're ready. So help yourself to sitting, often nice to bend the knees and let the back roll on down, touching each vertebra. You really feel a tremendous sense of yummy. I don't have to hold myself up once you get to the floor. It should feel good. And just breathe and feel for a few breaths. The final active pose is banana pose. I think everybody has done this before, but I'll talk you through it, or just go there if you know it. But it starts on our back, and we try to make a C shape with our body. So you kind of have a choice of moving the top half of your body to the side, or moving your legs to the side so that you're in this little C shape, this little banana shape, or both. I like to kind of keep my back on the blanket mat, so I tend to move my legs to get the C shape. And you can cross your ankles, sometimes that helps. You can let the arms get into the C. They can kind of come behind the head or even go long. Just see what works to get into that C stretch. And then we'll hold it for a couple minutes, both sides. If you've got your arms in it, good on you. Sometimes you have to kind of release it after the first minute or so, or it becomes more of a shoulder stretch than anything, but you be the judge. It's a nice shape. Actually getting a lot of stretch in the side body, both front and back, all the way through the pelvis without any or very little muscle strain. And that's a minute and a half, which is a decent hold for this, I think. So you want to do the other side, just kind of let the effort go on this side. Let the back neutralize for as long as it feels like it needs to, but then just make your way to the opposite C shape. very nice. And we're just going to let the back neutralize. So straighten out the shape. I would give yourself a couple breaths and squeezing your knees into your chest. Maybe a little rolling side to side. Just massage that spine that's worked so hard. And then as you're ready, take your time, just make your way to your Shavasana. Maybe one leg at a time, checking in with your back. It's always a possibility, especially with a lot of back work, to put a little rolled blanket or pillow under your knees. Sometimes that feels very good as a back release. Just find your most relaxing, released pose. Make yourself comfortable and let go. Feel the desire to stay quietly in Shavasana. Please feel free. That is one of the advantages of this Zoom format. If you're ready to close, just make your way to any comfortable seated position. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Namaste.